Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today I'll be going over the methods that I use to obtain salvage in Star Trek Online. As always, chapters are listed down below. And to start off, I want to recap what exactly salvage is for and why it matters to you. So, salvage is the resource you need in order to use the re-engineering system. You do also need to use dilithium alongside this, but what this allows you to do is to go in and re-roll the modifiers on your weapons to get the modifiers that are more desirable for the build that you're doing. Now, the dilithium cost does scale down if you're doing multiple mods in one go, but the salvage cost always remains the same. Each modifier that you're looking to re-roll, you're going to be spending 400 salvage. And if you're re-rolling something like the isomags, which you may want to do to try and get a modifier desirable for the build you're doing, or you may be doing to try and make EC off of them, like I discussed in a recent video, then you are going to burn through quite a bit of dilithium and salvage. Now, for the dilithium side of things, you probably are going to also be wondering what are some good ways to get more dilithium, and the options you have there are to wait for the next daily refinement, get more characters, and follow some of the methods I talked about in the video you see up on screen now, where you can use multiple characters to bypass that 8k a day cap, or you can just put some Zen into the game and use the Dilex to sell some Zen to get some dilithium right away. So the dilithium side you can easily cover, but the salvage side can be quite rough, especially if you're going in and trying to re-roll a bunch of these isomag consoles. You can end up needing to re-roll a couple times to get a desirable modifier. I got lucky here, but if I grab another console, I may not get as lucky. So I'll re-roll this one here. You know, if I was explicitly just trying to get like phaser, there's, right around 40 modifiers on this list. So it can take quite a long time to get a specific modifier. And if you're doing this in a very large quantity, you are going to burn through all of your salvage quite quickly. I'll do the last two rolls here. See, well, got a good roll there. Let's do one more. Okay, so now I'm out of salvage, and there's two different ways to go about this to go in and get salvage now. There's the free way, which I will cover here in a few minutes, and then there is the paid way. And the paid way is to just use EC to buy a bunch of random gear off the exchange and then salvage it. Now, if you're going to do this, you do want to be careful because some of the items you have in your inventory might be things that you don't want to get rid of. So if you have things that you want to protect, you don't want to, you want to make sure that you don't go in and accidentally salvage them, then right click on them, turn protection on, and you see that they disappear from the salvage list here. You don't want to go in and accidentally salvage an isomag that you just used a bunch of lithium and salvage on. So the way that I go about picking up items off the exchange to salvage usually is I'll usually start off looking under the various consoles here, and I'll type in like Mark XI, so Mark 11. And this works, but if you want to go through and make the search a little bit easier, you can also just search under all, and you could specify a rarity. So if I want to just search for rare Mark 11 and Mark 11, 12, and 13, I would just type in Mark XI there and put the rarity as rare. And now I can go in and buy things, but you do want to be careful because not everything here may be salvageable. Sometimes there are items that pop up that cannot be salvaged. So let me note how much EC I have here quick. So I have 6,142,153, and I'm gonna start buying some stuff now. And I don't think the kits are salvageable. Okay. So basically just go in, and you want to be careful because things may start to get really expensive right away. But I'll hold down either the spacebar or enter key so that I can just go in and buy things real quick. Now I'm going to lower the rarity down to uncommon because all of the cheap stuff at rare seems to be gone. And I'm going to get the prompt up here, and then I'm going to hold down my spacebar, and that will make it so you don't jump as you're holding down the spacebar and clicking this. So I'm just going to go through here, buy things up. Here's battle strategies, that's salvageable. Again, just do this until you run out of AC or you feel like you have enough items in your inventory to get the salvage you're going after. Are these shields salvageable? Yes, they are. Okay. So I have spent... I started out at right around 6.15 million there, and now I'm at 4872514. So I basically just spent just under 1.3 million EC. Now let's see how much salvage I just got from that. You can see all these items in my inventory. I could just open up the upgrade, reengineering, and salvage window, and I can salvage all of these unprotected items in one go. Again, make sure any valuable items you have are protected prior to doing this. If they're salvageable, you'll see them on this page here. So just like that, for 1.3 million EC, basically, I just got just under 12,000 salvage. So that is the paid way that you can go about it, and things might spike up here with me doing this video, but long term, this is something that I have personally been doing quite consistently for quite some time. Now, let's go over the free way for this approach. And as most of you probably guessed, the free route that I like to use to get salvage is some of the patrols. I specifically really like Rescue and Search and the 9th rule on advanced difficulty because they both have spawn points where it's just wave after wave of enemy in the exact same position. So I did just do a Rescue and Search, and unfortunately the recording had a bit of an issue, so I don't have footage of that one here, but we're going to hop into a 9th rule, again on advanced difficulty. And if you have an AoE heavy build, so cannon, scatter volley, fire at will, EPG, you're going to have a much easier time in here. You can still do it single target, but if you're looking to take the enemies out as quickly as possible, these AoE heavy builds are just much more efficient for this. And if you happen to have the jellyfish, that does also work in these patrols quite well if you set it up near the point where all the enemies keep coming in wave after wave. And it seems this load's going to take a little bit, so I'll skip ahead.
Looks like there was a fight here recently.
Sorry.
The Carter is ready to assist you.
Okay, and before I get into this fight up here, I do want
Lead the way.
to go in and salvage what I have in my inventory so far from the first patrol.
Vessel, Marauder class. They've decloaked.
So from that first patrol that I did, the Rescue and Search, I got 5,500 salvage. And let's see what I get from this one.
Leave enough of their ships for salvage. I'll be under cloak.
Sometimes you do want to be careful with this patrol because if you go through it too fast, it does break.
Bad news. The Ferengi.
Sometimes Madron here will just disappear.
We've got company.
Deals changed, Ferengi. Those spawns will be ours now.
You treacherous! This deal gets worse by the minute.
Betrayed by the Nausicaans. You had to know that was coming, Madron.
This patrol really isn't that bad. It's just the dialogue, not being able to do it while in regular always sucks.
Mint condition, no rips.
You're in my way. Get lost or die. Your choice. Your choice.
Did not mean to hit my cloak there. So basically just sit here now and farm them for the next couple of minutes. And on top of this, you also get a nice amount of XP if you're trying to grind up spec points or anything like that, or level a ship up. And I should mention too, with all of the salvage you're getting from this, or all the loot, like you can turn it into salvage for yourself, or you can go and put it up on the exchange. Like this method works for either grinding EC or grinding salvage. It's just a matter of what you end up doing with the items in the end. I don't even have time to fire my maelstrom here. It feels like a waste. There it goes. Yeah, you see how an AoE heavy build really just makes this much easier, especially like cannons. You just get in a flanking position behind where the group is, and you can just farm them all really quick. Like they're pretty much just dead as soon as they spawn in.
They're down to a few ships. Keep up the pressure.
There we go. So as soon as it puts me out of red alert, it'll move the loot over, but you can see there's quite a bit of loot here.
Well fought indeed. Modron's on his way to...
Yeah, don't depart the system until you have all your loot. But you can see it goes off screen just how much loot there is all piled up right there. So I'm going to spam B now. And unfortunately, there's not a way to go in and get all of your loot really quickly here. You just have to keep hitting the button. And keep hitting it. And a quick reminder here too that as you're collecting the loot, you can get through it a little bit faster by going into your options and enabling auto loot here under the basics tab. So go in, hit enable auto loot on, hit apply, and that isn't going to make the entire process faster, but that will stop the secondary window that pops up asking if you want to take a specific item. So it'll just automatically take the things when you hit the button. So it doesn't make it, really, really fast, but it is going to help you a little bit. Okay, there's all of the loot. Let's see, how much salvage did I get from this one now? So again, for the first one, I got right around 5,500 that I did off the recording. And now for this one, I ended up with about the same, about 5,400 salvage on this one. So just above, 5,500 per run so far. So that's doing pretty good. I should clarify, I do have a salvage bonus pool active from one of the recruit characters that you could claim account wide. So that is giving me a little bit extra, but still that would be just like 20% extra. So it is significant if you have it, but even without it, that's a good chunk of salvage that I just got, which I can then go in and use to continue being disappointed with the reroll experience on the isomag consoles here. Now what's going to happen is oh no, it gave me an energy mod, I'll keep it. And I know some of you are going to ask, how does Argala Elite do? So let's give that a go here real quick. Set the difficulty to Elite, and let's see if the loot happens to be any better in there. And looks like a quick load.
Warning, ship is under attack. Warning, ship is under attack.
You have entered an area.
Looks like our fight got them to notice us. Let's go over and ask if their boss might come out of hiding. Keep concentrating fire on individual ships. Separate them and whittle down their numbers.
We will not go quietly.
You will stand down and surrender to the Benton Guard. Sensors are picking up small habitations in some of the asteroids, possibly consistent with cold holes and temporary hideouts.
We do what we want, where we want.
Picked up a tight beam transmission on a new frequency. We're jamming that spectrum of their comms now, but it was probably a call for assistance.
I'm taking you with me.
That's got them. Excellent work. We'll send over a pacification
So
party.
let me go
Take
through
the
now
suspect
and
into
pick up
custody.
all the loot here. Doesn't look as much like it's as much loot as the others, but that's because there's just less enemies in here.
Thank you for your assistance.
Okay. Go around, take the items. Again, I wish there was a better loot system in the game for going in and actually grabbing the loot. The way the interface is here, well, it does sort of suck. Around, a few more here. Looks like I missed a couple back here. Yeah, again, I wish there was a better way to do this, but you have to hit the take item button for each and every one, and that looks like everything. And you can clearly see I don't have as many items in my inventory this time as I did in the patrols that had the infinite waves for a couple minutes. So let's salvage this. So 1,558 salvage. Certainly nothing like the other patrols that I did. And a quick note here, I did try some of the Romulan patrols like Argala Elite and Japori Advanced, and ultimately between the two of them, I did not get that many salvageable materials. So you can do them, they're really fast. I mean, this Japori I'm doing took like 30 seconds, but the rewards really aren't that amazing compared to the patrols like the Ninth Rule or Rescue and Search, where there's wave after wave of enemies spawning in for a couple minutes. So these patrols are nice if you're just needing like one or two pieces of gear. Like if you're just trying to get an Endeavor daily done, like the Romulan patrols will work. But if you're looking to really go in and farm a large quantity of salvage, then you do want to stick with those other patrols that I mentioned. Okay, so heading in now to Rescue and Search on advanced difficulty. What sucks about this one is
Thank you for coming.
all the dialogue prompts in it, and the Mokai. They can be a bit annoying.
Ship is under attack.
Gotta sit here and wait now until red alert is done.
We did it.
That rift's unstable. We need to hurry or those ships won't make it.
Klingon vessels are warping into your position.
Yeah, I feel like the loot's already better than the Japori and Kurai I just did. Once you're out of red alert, you can spam through the dialogue prompts here.
If you
That's one less rift to worry about. Let's regroup
Then
with
head back over
Comanche.
here and try to get in a good
Bad
position
news,
with the
I'm
Mokai.
afraid. Klingons are approaching
They
our
can be a bit of
position.
a pain. They have barrel impulse burst, so it can push you really far out. What I'm going to try to do here is get into a flanking position on them as soon as my evasive is back up, just so I can farm them a little bit faster. And I am going to stay far back because I don't want to be within 5 kilometers of them. I don't think I'm going to get to fire. I managed to click it, but I hit nothing. When cannon scatter volley or your firing modes misfire, you may have a brief period that slows down a little bit like that. Probably best to save your maelstroms for when that misfire happens. Yeah, the loot in here is certainly a lot better.
Let's deal with distractions, shall we?
Yeah, I think these other patrols are certainly much better, and you can see I'm getting a ton of specialization
lost of
experience while
them.
doing this as well. So now to spam and collect all the loot. Again, make sure you have auto loot enabled in your settings like I showed earlier. And then it's just the slow process of going in and spamming your interact key to pick up the items. So for me, that happens to be B. For you, that's probably going to end up being like your F key. And just keep at it. Remember too, this is the experience, the engaging experience they have provided here for us. This is the free-to-play way, you know. Gotta spam that button to take the loot. We'll get there eventually. Just a couple minutes. Very engaging. This is what I want to do. Okay. Oh, that always sucks. Okay, so how much salvage did I end up getting from this patrol here? Just over 5k, so not quite as much as the first run. That gave me like 5,500 in here, but it's quite clear to me that if you're looking to farm the salvage, these patrols with the multiple spawn waves like uh, the ninth rule or rescue and search are just the best way to go, especially if you have an AoE heavy build. For me, I just tossed a CSV build on the border skew and it worked quite well. Whatever build you want to use that's AoE focused, I think you're going to have a very successful time in here farming these resources. Now, I know all the gameplay and the experience of, going in and collecting that loot was probably not the most appealing to all of you, but just looking at the numbers here, I have recorded about 23 minutes worth of gameplay footage so far, and I did happen to miss the very first rescue and search that I did. So realistically, under half an hour, I have been able to go in and farm about 20k salvage. So that's pretty good. 20k salvage in half an hour on the one character. I don't know if there is a cap on how much loot you can get from this, per day. It's not something I've really ever went through and tested, but I think many of you would be happy with, going in and being able to get 20k salvage in half an hour there. And, you don't have to go in and just convert all of these items to salvage. If there's something you get that you want to sell, you could just post it on the exchange as well, if that's what you want to do. So this approach that I'm showing you here, you can use it in a couple different ways. The approach that I'm focusing on here is for going in and getting salvage, but you could, like I've said, easily go in and use this to farm EC as well. It's not going to be the biggest gain, but if I went in and posted everything I just got from these patrols up on the exchange, it would be a couple million EC. So it's up to you as to how you want to approach this, but this is a very good way to go if you're looking to get this stuff free. And if you don't want to spend the time for it, you just want to spend some EC, that side is also perfectly viable, and you can go in and get quite a bit of salvage for not that much EC. So that is going to be it for today, though. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and as always, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. See you guys around.